Welcome to the Sister Street Show with Mary Nunley and Sharon Giro, interactive show and virtual playground where we explore topics around entrepreneurship, online and in-person events, and the games that can be played with all of it. We invite you on our journey of sisterhood discovery and trial and error in the adventures of online entrepreneurship.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the
Welcome.
Sister Street Show. Today it's Mary Nunley with my fabulous co-host.
Sharon Otaguro. Aloha, everyone.
And you may have caught us giggling as you tuned in. We were just talking about the joys of cat parenthood, because much like in your business, all kinds of little things will creep up, even though you do your best to keep things clean and organized. And I was telling Sharon, I have 4 cats and I can sweep in the morning and 2 hours later, it looks like I haven't swept the house. And when you think about your business, oftentimes there's that same thing. It's like, but I just paid this invoice, but I just did this marketing campaign. No, seriously, I'm doing all the things. Why do I have to do it again? And so we always find ways to tie our lives into business. So thank you for tuning in. Sharon is going to continue on our journey with the scalable model. If you haven't been keeping up, go back to one of our early episodes, start with your identity. But today we're going to be talking about level expand and hit your numbers. Is that correct?
Yes, levels 6 and 7 in scaling your business from level 1 to level 7. These are the final 2 levels. 6 and 7 is all about scaling and hitting your number. And how do you do that? Well, it is once you've gotten rid of all that cat fuzz, because you've gotten your systems, you've gotten your infrastructure, you've built your team, and you've started to make sure that you are successful by doubling your take-home pay and having your board. Now you've got a nice, well-oiled machine. How do you continue to expand? You feel like you've optimized everything that you possibly can. Well, the level 6 is by expanding with M&A, or mergers and acquisitions. Once you've hit that area where you're in the sweet spot, you've done everything that you could, your business is running really well, and now you want to continue growing, you've got to expand by going after the audience that you have and serving them in different ways. You want to expand to the ecosystem of your business. And so when you think about what you do, like Mary, you do instructional design, you build courses. What is the ecosystem that your customer has that you would, if you thought about buying, the next things that you would buy? So who serves your audience in different ways than you do, but it's the same audience? What types of companies would you consider expanding into, investing, supporting them, or buying?
Well, that's a great question. So for what we do, companies that support game-based learning or gamified learning, companies that create storyline templates for rapid course creation for corporate courses, companies that have video templates that we could quickly use to help put out better products for our clients. Those are just a couple that come right off the top of my head because they're related but different.
Absolutely. So that would be horizontal integration in economic terms, but basically, so if you do one part of the service, then all the other services that fall along the spectrum of that coursework, that instructional design. And then you can also go vertical, meaning what are the other things in that person's lifestyle that aren't specific to that product or that experience or that service that you offer. So your audience also eats. What types of foods do they eat? Well, if it's course creators, then they are more corporate. So they might eat out more than eating in. So what types of restaurant experiences can you support? Or it might be, and these are a little bit more reaching, but there's ways that you can create that ecosystem where, okay, I need to fulfill the services that are along the same chain of what I do, and then might be along the lifestyle of what they offer. So what other things do they need? Well, they might need nanny services because they're so busy. They might need a bookkeeper because they run a business, right? So you have to think when you're looking at expanding your business, what is that whole ecosystem that your customer has? Where do they shop? Where do they eat? Where do they fulfill their personal business needs with dry cleaners, with personal car services, with mailing services. And what do they also need that's more specific and specialized to your work, like Mary mentioned, with all those other facets of the storyline, the website, the different technology products, and could you be an affiliate for them? And those are the types of businesses that when you've got your business oiled and well run, that you want to then say, well, who else serves my customer? And can I build referral relationships with them? Can I build affiliate relationships with them? Mary, what are affiliates to you?
So, Sharon, that's a great question. To me, affiliates are people that I partner with, and they have a product or a service that I think would appeal to my audience. In exchange for that, I receive some type of either financial compensation or at least recognition that I'm sharing their product or service with people that I think would benefit from them. So that's what an affiliate is to me.
Absolutely. That's perfect. So that's what you want to consider when you're expanding is how can I get more referrals? How can I get affiliate relationships where I'm making a little bit of commission off of the products and services that I'm already recommending or that my customer needs in order to have the services that I offer? And then how can I get more into business with them? Well, that's where you merge or you acquire. So you can acquire part ownership in a media company. You can buy a Facebook group. You can buy the printing company that offers the business cards that you do if you do so many businesses. But there's so many ways where once you've tapped into your market, your specific company, that you can then start to save costs, because if I'm buying a media company, then they're offering media to me for free. So all of the money that I'm paying for advertising would then go away, and I get additional benefits, and I can refer my customers to this media company, which, by the way, I have 20% ownership in, right? So that's how, once you've tapped into your business, you start to expand into the world of your customer and start to get investment and expansion by that strategy of merging and acquiring other businesses. Mary, what do you think about that? Or what are the other ideas or thoughts do you have?
Ooh, I didn't even think about buying a Facebook group or something, but you're right. I think that that idea of merging really is appealing to a certain sector of the business world. And I think, again, as we've been talking about through this whole series, is knowing that that's a possibility, even if you're just getting started in business, can help you like really think through that strategy to go, is that a route that I want to go? Or I may not want to merge or purchase another company, but I may want to spin off and start a second business, which is very similar as well. I've got that first business running, I've got a good management team. I'm going to go off and start another business. So I think that it's really helpful to have that and just start thinking about that sooner
Yep.
rather than later, because it does take some planning.
Yep. And another term for merge, if you're just starting out, is collaborate, right? So Mary and I are in a collaboration because we serve very similar audiences, but in completely different ways. So why does that work? And how could you do that at your level? Solopreneurs oftentimes are lonely. That's why Mary and I believe in Ohana and collaborating. And so how could you collaborate with someone that offers something similar? A copywriter and a website designer, a course creator and a media company, a summit producer and a gift company that offers swag, right? So many different ways that you can collaborate that then could be a merger or an acquisition later on in the line.
Great way of clarifying that. And again, that's not something that I've really ever thought about until recently. And it makes a lot of sense.
Yes. And so some ways that Mary and I collaborate, we share costs on some software pieces. So she allows me to utilize some of her platforms that she has for voiceover work and animate characters and things like that when I'm doing my lead magnets and my courses and my events, and vice versa. When we start to do our events, Mary is as our client or as our merger, she has the ability to offer her events on our summit platform for free because she is one of our clients. So those are also ways that you can merge your business or you can collaborate in your business as well. So many different ways that when you start to expand, you want to consider in how you can serve your customer in different ways. And then you hit your number. Why is it so important? Well, all of us have that number, that lifestyle freedom vision in your head. And if you don't have it, by the way, you need to have it, because this is the driving factor that on those tough days gets you out of bed. For our coach, our referral coach, Mary and I, Virginia Muskis, it is being able to save the world through entrepreneurship. And so she helps third world country female entrepreneurs build their own business so that they can get out of poverty. So what is that impact, the impactpreneur piece of what you do? Mary, you have this as well. What business and what vision, what difference in the world do you want to make?
So that's a good question. And I wanted to, before I answer that, kind of jump back a little bit too. And so many times folks have had this misunderstanding, or it's been misrepresented about that lifestyle piece. And I know for me, I have no desire to have a Lambo and a giant mansion with 15 swimming pools and that kind of thing. And so if somebody's trying to say, find your number so that you can buy these material things, it does nothing for me. And so for those of you that are listening, think about what's important to you and what that money that you earn from your business can help you do. We're about giving back. So in Lavender Dragon Team, which is our company, we give to Feeding America because food is so important to me. And it's just something that's near and dear to my heart. I also support entrepreneurs through Kiva. Every year, sometimes more than once a year, I participate in a scavenger hunt called Gish. And there's always a change a life item or change a life items. We're in a mini hunt this week, and it's supporting reading is fundamental, which is a key thing for me. And it's also supporting wheelchairs for Ukraine folks that are suffering because of the events that are happening there right now. So it's really about what's important to you and how do you want to give back. And if I have that money from the business, I may not need a fancy car or an expensive house, but it allows me to give back to the community and help make somebody else's lives better. And so that's where I come up with that number.
Yeah. And for me, it is celebrating recovery, because I believe that everyone has a propensity for addiction, because addiction happens when we are in stress and then there is a traumatic moment. And in that traumatic moment, we find a trigger or a self-soothing type of thing, whether it's food addiction, whether it is drugs and alcohol. And for me, it was workaholism, because work made me feel like I had an identity, like I had success, and it solved my loneliness problem because I could throw everything into work and feel good about myself and what I was doing. And so I believe that addiction is there for everyone in different ways, because we all need to self-soothe and we all have trauma. And celebrating recovery celebrates those people who might have a propensity for it because they just have so much passion or so much loyalty and they got stuck in that traumatic moment. So I give back to celebrate recovery based on that. And there's more on that story later, but if we don't have a calling that's bigger than ourselves, an impact that we want to make in the world, it's so much easier to think that our small business doesn't mean that much to the world. But once we know what that number is and we're able to hit that number for ourselves, and as Mary said, your lifestyle freedom could just mean that you are able to take a vacation without stress, without worry, or it could mean that you want to give back to the world. That's still an impact in your family, in your community, in the world, in your little small corner of the world, and therefore back to you. And that gets you out of bed every morning, because it's that scary world that you actually matter, that you have a legacy to give. And we all want to make that mark in our small piece of the world. And when you do that, then that's where you know that your business is that level of success, that you were able to make that impact. And guess what? That's what we're all here to do. We are serving hearts. We are people that want to make an impact. And however big and however small that impact is, it's got to scare you, because that's what makes the difference and gets you out of bed every single morning. Right, Mary?
It is, yes. And the other part that's scary is once you bring on employees, it's very scary. And that is a driving factor. It's like, oh, I have other people's lives that are depending on my success and the success of my business. And that makes a big difference too. So, as you grow, use that as a motivator as well. But Sharon, it's great. And I was just kind of, when you were talking about celebrate recovery and addiction, I kind of just like giggled a little bit, because just before we started, we are also talking about me always wanting to say yes to things. And I'm like, Sharon, tell me to say no, because there is a volunteer activity in my community. And I'm like looking at everything I have on my plate. And and it's like, but there's this part of me that's like, oh yeah, but you got to say yes. You want to make a difference. And the healthy response is sometimes you have to say no. And maybe the way I make a difference is a financial contribution instead of a time contribution, because I will just end up resenting this extra thing, because in a moment of crazy, I just went, yeah, I could do that. And then it's like, but where, but how? So
Exactly.
really think about what that why is, what that motivation is, what that number is, and what does that mean for you?
Yeah. So once you have that number, you've got to have that number in mind, and that number gets more and more clear as you grow. Once you hit that number, you don't have that resentment, because you were clear on why you're doing it and how you got there, and then what's important to you. And you're able to give back because you're no longer restricted by time or money. You've hit that time freedom, you've hit that money freedom. And so you can freely give. And the earlier you know that number, when you're just starting out, it creates that easy no. It creates that boundary, because you're clear that this is what you want to do. You want to contribute back. And how you do that is being so successful in your business that it's easy to be able to have the time to contribute, because you aren't restricted in your time and your energy and your money. So yeah, it's funny, right, Mary, how it comes back to the beginning of the why identity.
It really does. Yes. Know your why, know why you're in business, know why you're doing this, know what it is that motivates you to get out of bed in the morning, because that will help you on those days when it's like, oh, why did I even do this? The laundry is stacked up high. I'm working 15 hours a day. Why? But it's having that number and having that end in sight, where you know that this is much like an athlete. You put a lot of time in training to reach that goal, but then when you reach that level that you've set your mind to, you know that all that extra time is paying off. At least hopefully it does.
Exactly. And so it's important to have that why at the beginning, because it's that 5%, 10%, whatever it is that you give consistently, that you know that you always have a reason that's bigger than yourself, because that couple of dollars helps someone somewhere. But
Mhm.
then you have the ability, once you've hit that budget, to say no, because once you hit your number, your big number, then you're able to give back in a really big way. And those people that resent you of like, well, she can give because she hit her number, that's the resentment that they feel, because they haven't gotten that clarity of that why, that big picture of what's going to happen when you hit your number.
Yes. Oh, so powerful. Sharon, this has probably been one of my favorite episodes so far. And I know that we're close to time, but before we go, what's up next? Because I know we're taking a slightly different approach.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this series of the levels of business, so that you can see the big picture and you can see the small steps that you can take along the way. So we are closing out this series of the scalable business that you want to build for yourself and your big why. Now we're going to shift. We're going to have a little fun time. We're going to get some guests back in here, because we enjoyed that last season. And so we want to do that again. We're going to bring a couple of quick stories of success and examples and case studies of how this business can grow in different ways. So you'll see that. And then we're going to shift. We're in the year of the entrepreneur into Entrepreneur 101 and 201. So you're going to get tips and strategies, and we're really going to break down online entrepreneurship at the 101 and 201 levels on this year of entrepreneurs and get into some of the tactics. What are the legal things that you need? What is that tech stack that might be there? What else, Mary, are we going to bring into online entrepreneurship 101 and 201?
Oh my goodness. So, what are lead magnets and giveaways, and how can you promote your business through courses and workshops and summits and just so many more cool things? Speaking of which, and Sharon, you didn't mention this, I believe that there is an assessment that people can take also that kind of ties together this whole series that we've been doing about scaling your business. So, why don't you wrap us up by sharing a little bit more about that assessment? Because that's going to be part of our Tech Online Entrepreneur 101 as well.
Exactly. So thank you so much for this past series, and always subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and then go to our website at sisterstreet.show, where you will find our gift for this series, which is the Scalable Assessment. Check in on how you are doing in your scalability and where the gaps might be that you can get the biggest gain. And so understanding your own scalability score and what's possible and where you can work on those areas is so important, because knowledge is power and knowledge applied is success. And that's what we want for you, is your success as our sisters and brothers on this entrepreneurial road to freedom, lifestyle freedom. So you'll find that on sisterstreet.show, and on the show notes here is that link to the scalability test. And then we'll delve into, in this next quarter, the series on online entrepreneurship and all the tactics that you'll gain. What
Thank you
else,
so
Mary?
much. I think that's it. This has been a great series. I know that our viewership is going up. And just a little shameless plug here, if you're watching till the end, our goal is to get 100 subscribers by the end of Q2, which would be the end of June. So if you like what you're watching, if you know somebody that could benefit from this, please subscribe to the Sister Street Show. And who knows, we may even have a little giveaway for you if we hit our numbers. So that's
Woo-hoo!
all I have to say for today. Sharon, what about you?
That's it. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, share what you want to learn about, because that is what makes this show so much fun for us and hopefully more valuable for you. Have a great rest of your day, week, month, and year as we see you here. And we'll see you again in the next
Time.
series.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for future videos.